Welcome to lesson 3.3. In this lesson, we'll be solving equations with variables on both sides, and we're going to be learning about identity and no solutions. So an identity is a solution to an equation that allows for all real numbers to represent the unknown. In our first example, we have variables on both sides. So let's look at this real world situation. We're trying to decide whether we want to buy a skateboard for $60 from a friend and rent the safety equipment, or just rent everything we need for $5.50 an hour. So in order to solve this situation, we want and find out how many hours we must use the skateboard in order to justify buying it from our friend. We're going to write our equation in which we have $60 plus the $1.50 per hour. That is going to equal $5.50 per hour if we just rent. So here we can see the cost every hour on the left for buying versus the cost on the right side of our equation for totally renting everything. So the number of hours here is going to make the price the same. So we solve this equation. I'm going to first subtract 150 hours from both sides. And I'm left with 60 equals 4h. I then divide both sides by 4. And I get 15 equals h. What that tells us is that at 15 hours, the cost for buying our friend's skateboard and renting the safety equipment is exactly the same as if we were just renting all of the equipment. So if we plan to use the skateboard and skateboard more than 15 hours, it's going to pay to buy our friend's skateboard, and it will save us money in the long run. Here in our next example, we're going to solve this equation, and it's not going to have a solution, as you can tell by the label. So the first thing you want to do is I used my commutative property on the right side so that I can have the z minus 7z right next to one another. That helps me see that I have negative 6z's on both sides of my equations. So if I were to add 6z to both sides, I'm left with only 8 equals 10. All of my variables have disappeared. This is an indication that something strange is going on, and it's going to be one of two situations when all of your variables are disappearing on you. It's either an identity or a no solution. In this case, is 8 equal to 10? No, that's a false statement. So there is no case when 8 is ever going to equal 10. So therefore, there is no variable or no value of z that we can plug into this equation to make it true. So in this case, this is what we would call a no solution. No, and I usually use the abbreviation no sol. Because there's no value that we're going to be able to plug in for z. So in this example here, we want to eliminate those parentheses right away. So we're going to use the distributive property. So as we use the distributive property, we're going to multiply that negative 2 times the 2y, and we get negative 4y. And then we're going to multiply that negative 2 times the negative 2 here, and we get plus 4. Again, we're going to start to combine like terms, and I am going to get the variables together on one side, or what I hope would be getting the variables together on one side. And lo and behold, my variables are eliminated. unlike the previous situation, we now have a true statement that tells us that 4 equals 4. Okay, so anytime 4 equals 4, that's a true statement, right? So that's like a mirror or an identity. This is an identity solution in that if you think about it, any value of y that you plug in is going to make this situation true. So we call this identity. Look for more examples, and we'll do some real world examples of identity and no solutions in class.